Hi all, welcome to Skillist. I've got Chris Jealous here, who's a 10-year sports physiotherapist, and he's now director of Domain Health. And we've got him along because we want to talk about skill acquisition today, because as a PGA professional, our speciality comes really in understanding technique, but we definitely have a lacking in understanding of skill acquisition itself. So I wanted to turn to Chris today and say welcome. Thanks for coming along. Really appreciate it. So through your experience, because you work very much in a controlled environment where you don't have like a specialised skill that we're trying to do, where we're trying to either hit a projectile or in swimmers' case where you're trying to move through water. Yeah. Can you just talk to me a little bit about skill acquisition?
Yeah, it's a really good point. I mean, from our point of view, we're often trying to teach people really simple things like how do you bend your back properly to stop back pain? Or how do you move your shoulder in the right way to stop it impinging? Yeah. And so we've obviously delved a lot into the science of skill acquisition to try and make this better. Yeah. And I think the first thing to try and really understand is that skill acquisition is a really complex task. Yeah. It's a lot more complex than I think most people give it credit for.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so there's various stages of skill acquisition. There's the initial kind of beginner stage where you're really thinking hard about how to move the club or move your arm if you're swimming, for instance, right up to that automatic skillful stage of a top performer. Yeah. But for them it's also challenging because the margin of error between good and bad is so small. Yeah. So it's a lot more automatic for them, but it's a lot more cognitive or mental for the beginner.
The biggest thing that I find as a golf professional is that everyone is looking at that little ball on the ground when they're in the driving range and they're reacting to the flight. You've been there, exactly right. You're just constantly reacting to the ball flight. So this is why obviously I love getting you involved in this sort of thing, is because we definitely have this thing where people constantly react to the ball flight rather than being really conscious of what their body's doing or standing in front of mirrors. That sort of thing really does impinge on progression. So
100%.
So what would you recommend for someone who's really struggling to change their golf swing, for example?
Well, I think it's really important to try and understand some of the basic science, and I won't bore you too much.
No, bore away.
But the neuroscience basically tells us that if I'm trying to learn a new pattern in my body, so moving my arm one way or stepping my leg another, my brain literally has to download new neurons and lay a circuitry for us. Right. So this is heavy machinery and it takes a lot of energy. Yeah. Now you've probably heard the phrase that our brain at rest requires about 20% of all of our energy intake. Yeah. So it's already a high energy organ. Yeah. We're then adding more stuff to do, and this becomes really challenging.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so not only do we have this, I guess, challenge of trying to lay down new neurons, but we've already got ingrained habits that we're used to doing. Yeah. So if we've ever thrown a ball or played tennis or done something else with a racket and a ball, then as soon as we stand up to that tee, our brain, because it's looking for the path of least resistance, is going to go back to some of those old patterns that are already in there. Yeah. And it's going to take a lot more work and a lot more energy to try and focus on the new ones that you've just learned.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think, understanding that tells us that if we're going to try and learn something, we need to try and learn in a really safe and comfortable environment.
Absolutely, which is the problem we face all the time. Is that, I work at one of the busiest driving ranges in the country. Yeah. We have 5 or 6 teaching pros, PGA professionals standing there at any one time, and it's an incredibly intimidating situation.
Absolutely.
So what we need to do is take people out of that, and as you were saying, the more comfortable the place that you're in, and the more secure you feel, the more easily it is to change a pattern or to change the way your body works.
Absolutely, and we know people learn at different rates. We all lay this circuitry down at different times. So whatever you're learning, whether it's swimming or singing or learning the piano, you need to try and figure out a way to do it comfortably and safe. Yeah. Without pressure and at your own pace. Yeah. Because you need to figure out how quickly you learn, not how quickly the teacher wants to teach you.
Exactly right. Yeah.
And anecdotally, you hear stories about someone like Tiger Woods, a really amazing top performer, right? Yeah. He's trying to groove a new pattern or a new swing. So he goes out on the range and he crushes like 50 drives straight down the middle. As soon as he steps on the first tee, he's under pressure.
Yeah.
And that pressure then takes a lot more energy for his brain to lay down the new pattern. So he goes back to his old ways and he hits it 60 yards onto the other fairway.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so if it takes someone like Tiger doing that, you can imagine what the weekend golfer's going to do.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's why we need to sort of, we need to lower initial expectations a little bit. You know, I think when when I'm working with someone, and it's probably as much fault of the PGA professional, because we also want immediate results for people, even though we probably know that long term it's definitely not the best thing for their game.
Yeah.
So what we need to do is probably educate people that we go, right, during a golf lesson or swimming lesson or whatever it might be, that is when you acquire the information you then need.
Yeah.
And then it's up to you to do something with that information in a controlled environment and train your body to do something new.
You've got to get the repetitions in. You've got to go back, practice it on your own, and do the repetitions enough to lay that groundwork in your brain.
I suppose you need to do it the right way.
You need to do it the right way.
Yeah.
If you do something even slightly incorrectly, it's a whole new pattern.
Yeah.
So, you know, they say you need to do between 500 and 1,000 repetitions, right? For something to become automatic.
Yep.
Well, we say you need to do 500 to 1,000 correct repetitions.
Yeah.
And that's where you need a coach or a teacher to give you feedback along the way to tell you you're doing it the right way.
And the right way doesn't even necessarily mean hitting the ball the right way. It means standing in front of a mirror and doing it the right way on your own in a very controlled environment. I just find, and I've had, you know, there's been stories, and I've given lessons to people who have been injured, haven't been able to pick up a golf club, and they've just trained their body to do the correct things, and they're the people that make so much more progress than the person that comes for a 1 hour lesson every week and hits 3,000 golf balls.
Absolutely.
So it's doing things the right way in a very controlled environment, and not necessarily even hitting golf balls or doing you see swimmers a lot of the time doing out of water drills.
Absolutely.
They're not even in the water to actually get things right.
If you've got shoulder impingement, for example, we'll bring you into the clinic, we'll film you from behind, and we'll show you how that shoulder blade's moving just with a simple arm movement.
Yeah.
And I think with something as complex as golf, you need to get back to the basics of learning which body parts should move in what sequence and not worrying about the result of the golf ball until you can do that proficiently.
Yeah. Fantastic, Chris.
No worries.
Thanks for coming in today. It's just been fantastic. So it's Chris from Domain Health. He's obviously available as well at Domain Health in Melbourne. So if anyone needs help with any sort of problems they might have with their body, or if they're trying to acquire new skills, you can come and see Chris. So thanks a lot, and we'll see you really soon.